What's going on, y'all? It's the Home Slice Ascend Hyperion. Halo has long stood out in the gaming industry for its unique approach to the arena shooter genre and its revolutionary gameplay formula. Over its nearly 20-year history, this formula has propelled and kept Halo at the forefront of FPS titles, not just as a competitor, but as a dominator in its field. But what is this formula? What is the design metric by which Halo operates? While there have been many interpretations over the years, unfortunately, many of them have fallen aside as mere tools of critique of different Halo titles, and nowadays, they serve little purpose aside from being divisive buzzwords. But in today's video, I'm going to discuss the key central design logic that ties every FPS Halo together. The one that is in reality, Halo's truest and most pure skeleton, and one that was carried over all the way from Halo CE to Halo 5. Today, we're going to discuss the design logic known as the dance, and how it's the ultimate guide for design in Halo. Let's get this thing started. Before we can discuss the dance, we need to establish the current and growing issue with analysis of Halo design. Unfortunately, most discussion of design in Halo is combative, not informative. By this, I mean rather than observe the transitive mechanics that embody Halo games, people have become obsessed with highlighting the changes in design between titles. This isn't really an issue on its own, but what is an issue is when people begin to assign subjective value to these changes and then claim these subjective values are objective to the analysis. Long story short, too much time is spent trying to convince other Halo players to like or dislike parts of Halo, rather than it being spent drawing the deep connections in the series. It's with this statement I would like to introduce the Golden Triangle theory.
Whatever weapon that you start off every round with is going to really affect the decisions you make. How best do I use my melee attack, or how best do I use my grenades in order to tip that fight a little bit over in my favor?
The assault rifle works really well with the golden three things of Halo, which are weapons, grenades, and melee.
For several years, the Golden Triangle has become one of the most weaponized discussion tools in all of Halo, so much so that it's mutated beyond its pure meaning, and because of this, many people don't fully appreciate what the Golden Triangle is supposed to embody. The Golden Triangle is directly contributive to the logic of the dance, so I want to make sure we all have an understanding of the pure meaning of the Golden Triangle before we continue. The Golden Triangle is a design philosophy coined by Bungie. Its most popular derivation is explained in a Halo 3 vidoc. In short, the points of the triangle are listed as guns, grenades, and melee, and they represent the key means by which players interact in Halo in combat. While this idea may seem simple, it's a key influencer in Halo gameplay, especially when discussing the language of killing another player. There are many interpretations of the Golden Triangle done by many different content creators, and personally, I don't recommend watching a single one. It's in the best interest of the observer to utilize the Golden Triangle as the literal outline of player killing methods given by Bungie. The mutation of its meaning and what the points of the triangle are supposed to represent serves to provide nothing but misleading opinion fronted as fact. Because the Golden Triangle has been exploited so heavily in the community, many people have come to think it alone governs what defines Halo gameplay, but this is not the case. Now that we've reset our understanding of the triangle, let's discuss why.
Perfection.
You see, Halo's intrinsic gameplay style is not defined just by the means of which you kill other players. The triangle shares a symbiotic relationship with two other key mechanics, these being movement and health. When combined, these three design cornerstones form what we call the dance. Let's explore our other two tips here. Let's start with movement. Movement is defined as such: the means and methods by which players can traverse the playspace, which includes not only their abilities, but also their limitations. You see, a key thing that separates Halo from many of its peer games is its scope of movement. In the general sense, for Halo this has always come down to jumps. Players in Halo are able to reach higher with any singular jump than pretty much any other shooter competitor. And that single jump is key, because not only was it true in 2007 when you compare Halo 3 to COD for example, but it's even true in 2015 when you compare Halo 5 to COD again. This is interesting because in 2015 COD opted for advanced mobility, and it still did not grant single jumps ranges like Halo. On the surface, jumping might seem like a negligible thing, but the ability for a player to obtain high elevation greatly alters map design, and especially player interactions. Think of any Halo you've played. What are you always doing? Jumping. How many other shooters allow for jumping to be so frequent and effective as a means of travel, but also combat? That effectiveness leads us to our next mechanic. Jumping isn't just for travel, it's for fights. That's made possible by the mechanic of health. Compared to many of the most popular shooters of its time, Halo's approach to health was a stark contrast. Health here is defined as the lump sum damage a player can take before being killed, regardless of the amount a player has at any given time. Halo's approach to player health cultivated an environment for prolonged combat between players. Unlike games like COD or Battlefield, fights between players are not short exchanges of fire, with the victor usually being whoever shot first. No, in Halo, fights are initiated, and the player health mechanic allows for retaliation, recovery, and even escape from either party. I mean, just think about that contrast. While certain more concurrent games like Overwatch and Fortnite have their own means of prolonging combat between players, Halo still maintains a highly unique approach of just making it so players don't die as quickly. But like everything else, this allowance of player-on-player duels isn't just intrinsic of health. Like I said, these mechanics have a symbiotic relationship. They are constantly contributing to and benefiting from one another. The golden triangle provides the means for combat, while the movement allows for the combat to be variable, while health allows for the combat time to run long enough to create the duel scenario. These mechanics work in tandem, together to form the dance, the single most pure and steadfast foundation for Halo. We'll cap this video out by explaining how the dance is prevalent in every FPS Halo, and how its formula is in reality the truest design logic for a Halo game. The dance refers to how fights in Halo are not limited to single exchanges of fire or swift insta-kills. Similar to how the golden triangle itself has an interaction matrix, the relationship of the mechanics in the dance do as well. The combination of movement and health produces strafing and its tricks. The triangle and movement produce fight styles, and the combo of the triangle and health produces variation in fight duration. The dance is an acknowledgement to the variability of a fight in Halo, how players can utilize the mechanics to modify the conditions of the fight to attempt victory. Your enemy has too much health? Drop a nade. Not in a good spot to fight? Jump to a high spot. Pick up a shotgun to surprise a pursuer, ninja kill someone who is charging you, nade jump to get an opponent, swap weapons adjust for the fight environment, punch a group of weak guys because it's faster than using the AR. The list goes on and on and on, and now you're sitting there, you're thinking about all the times you've entered a fight in Halo and used these mechanics. You have memories of the times that these mechanics controlled how you play. You can see how a fight in Halo differs from COD or PUBG or whatever, but more importantly, I hope you can see how the dance is the ultimate transitive Halo design logic. Every major Halo FPS, despite the differences between them, all speak this same base language, the dance. It doesn't matter that dual wielding in Halo 2 or equipment in Halo 3 affects the golden triangle. It doesn't matter how sprint affects movement in Halo 4, or how you have to stop sprinting to recover in Halo 5 affects the health mechanic, because each and every single match you play in those games all abide by the same rules. You see, there is no difference between a fight in Halo 3 or Halo 5, not at the core. I'm still strafing. I'm still attempting to both outmaneuver and outdamage my opponent. At the end of the day, it's the same core mechanics. You see, the dance is a very communicative design logic. It's all about creating an environment where the player has influence on their own fate. It's not about unlocking the better gun, or getting the first shot, or who can build the most walls. The dance is about how you react and utilize the tools at your disposal to win a fight. It's about manipulating the map to join your dance, about reading the dance of the other player, or about practicing, refining, and perfecting a personal swing that you can then match against other players. And if you can't win with that, then you have even a second of reprieve where you say, what do I do next? The dance is Halo's most precious gameplay design. What's even more impressive is how even across 20 years of games with 6 main titles by 2 developers, it still exists, not just as a part of Halo, it is Halo. It doesn't matter if you had an extra gun, bubble shields, armor locks, sprint, clamber, boost. When you observe 2 players fighting in Halo, it goes back to the same ideology. You're watching the dance. You're watching Halo. And that's going to do it for this video. What are your thoughts on the dance? Do you think it's the true Halo design philosophy, or am I just making stuff up? Don't worry, I did plenty of research for this video. If you made it this far, as in you watched the video, leave your comments below, I want to hear them. And be sure to like and subscribe. If you like this type of content, I've got plenty more on the channel from June for you to check out. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.